Hey y'all, welcome to Veggie Farming. I'm Stacy and it's time to do a check-in on my 2024 Collards and Cabbage Challenge. Before I show you all what everything is looking like, I also just ordered some elephant garlic from growing out the box and I want to open that and show you all what it looks like. So I ordered, I think it comes with 1 pound. Oh, it also looks like there are some black cherry tomato seeds and some Queen of the Night tomato seeds in there. That's a good bonus. I think this is a pound of garlic and it's in this bag, and these cloves are huge. Let me get this. I'm gonna put it in a box so you can see actually how much is in here. Goodness. Look at that. You see that? Look how big this one is. And one clove alone is just this big. These look so healthy. I can't wait to get these planted. So if you have not ordered some garlic from growing out the box, get over there now before it sells out. I also ordered some flower bulbs. I'm not sure how many of you all are interested in flowers, but I want to up the flowers in my garden for next year. These are from Holland Bulb Farm. I have some bearded iris, and I have a couple of those. See what they look like. They come pretty dried out. I have some ranunculus corms. This is more bearded iris. And then I ordered a bunch of daffodils. And also this hyacinth. Oh, these are, I don't know if you can see that. These hyacinth bulbs are pretty big. I don't know why I thought they were going to be a lot smaller than that. But they look pretty plump. They don't look dried out or anything. So keep watching and you'll see how these bulbs do over next spring. All right, let's get started with our tour around the garden. So this is what it looks like in one of my chicken coop cages. And they are doing really well in there. I have things at different stages of growth. And I see a few holes in this plant here. That means it's time for me to get in there and take some action. I don't know if you can see that red mustard green is doing great. That's definitely going to be ready for Thanksgiving. So none of my plants are quite large enough to just have one plant, so I'll be having mixed greens. And these are not covered yet so far. Doing pretty well. These are Brussels sprouts. This was labeled as a dwarf Siberian kale, but this looks exactly like Premier kale that I have grown in the past. And these are larger, thicker leaves. So this kale is more similar to a collard. So it will do well in a mixed green pot as well. And this is another Brussels sprout. So these are green Brussels sprouts, and this is a purple Brussels sprout plant. And that's some scarlet kale back there. And I still have a Swiss chard covered up. And right through there I have a couple of other plants that are still smaller, so they're still covered up with the waste baskets. Right over here, my mint is starting to bounce back. So that is looking good. I also have a couple of things in my green stalk that are covered, but I've seen that bugs have gotten into it. I've seen a few holes on some of the things. But other than that, they're starting to grow in pretty well. And that's Mizuna right there. I don't know if you can see that. That kale has some missing parts, so yeah, looks like I need to go in there, check on damage. But this year, my fall garden is on a much smaller scale than usual. Since I was dealing with the critters and trying to figure out how to get things protected, I had to scale back. And I'm still in the process of figuring out a better plan for spring. I don't want to have to cover everything individually. I don't know if you saw, I waited all season for these Mexican sunflowers. They can be used as a green manure. And I thought I was just going to be able to have the leaves, but the sunflowers have come in and they are beautiful. And this is my collard plant for the Collards and Cabbage challenge. I started it from seed and transplanted it out of the AeroGarden, and this is how it's looking now. This is my cabbage plant for the challenge. It's a stonehead cabbage. And right over here, I just have another collard plant as well. But I started this stonehead cabbage from seed, and I also purchased a start at the same time. Once the seed had germinated and gotten large enough, I went ahead and transplanted it into its final destination in this pot. And I planted the transplant right next to it because I wanted to see how they grew in comparison to each other. It looks like this plant that I started from seed is actually starting to outgrow the start that I purchased. So I'm just going to keep watching both of them and see how they finally mature. So some of the broccoli starts that I showed you in the last video have gotten too big for the Dollar Tree waste baskets. And I've had that happen with a couple of the other plants that I've put in these baskets. So let me show you how I handle it once they start to outgrow these baskets. So during the spring, this is an example of the towers I made out of hardware cloth to put over my tomatoes. And these plants aren't going to get this tall. So what I've done is actually cut them in half. You can see right on the top, you can see that the plant is hitting the top of the basket. And these are just in with landscape staples. Just kind of try to loosen it up. I put these onions from the grocery store in there to try to ward off the white butterfly. So these black broccoli starts are doing okay. Not too much damage. Just looking for worms. And I have a top that I zip tied to the top. So it's an enclosed cylinder now. And then I'm just gonna take this tulle fabric and just wrap it around here. And enclose it. All right. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just that extra layer of protection from the cabbage moth. No matter how good you get this around here, if they want in, they always find a way to get in. So you still have to watch these plants and look in there on a regular basis and see if you start seeing holes. You start seeing holes, they've gotten in, and you need to get in there and get them off. You can pick them off by hand, you can spray something. But once you start seeing the holes, it's time to take action. So this is protected now with room to grow.